Good morning, guys. As usual, TVC has a finger on the pulse, and if it's trending, we are definitely going to be talking about it in our first story. 32 years later, as you just saw, former military president General Ibrahim Babangida has admitted that the late Bashorun MKO Abiola unequivocally and democratically won the historic and tragic June 12, 1993 presidential elections. Now, while retired General Babangida has admitted to his mistakes, oversights and missteps in his book and to the world, mixed and moving reactions trail his truth 3 decades on. Let's take a look at social media. Mr. OK says, yes, Nigeria survived, but did it heal? The wounds of yesterday are still as fresh as tomorrow. Solutions is what you as an elder statesman who played a part in the demonization of our democratic state should be suggesting, not all these unapologetic apologies. Igboeze says, from my observation, IBB is preparing for his death and needed forgiveness from people he offended. It's like an open confession. T. Oracle says, I don't understand what those clapping of hands from the audience after 32 years. You are just coming out to explain a well-orchestrated logic to deliberately deceive more people. You think what you did was in the interest of the country in 2025? What do we make of this update? I will say that hope is a resilient thing that never truly dies. And even though this happened years before I was born, in my house it was constantly MKO Abiola Day. And democracy is extremely, extremely important. I think he was an ideal of hope and still is. Moving on now. The phrase, I am not afraid of you, dominated social media yesterday after Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan defiantly spoke the words to the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, before being ordered out of plenary. Now, this drama started when Akpoti-Uduaghan's seat was relocated without prior notice, leading her to refuse the move. Now, while seat reassignments fall within the Senate President's authority, her strong reaction hinted at deeper tensions. Let's take a listen to this. The question remains, is there more to the friction between the two senators? I will say that if the greater good was her constituency and they take priority, I believe that she should have moved her seat and been in a position to continue to speak for them, because as they said that if she did not move her seat, she would no longer be able to speak for her constituency and she'd be excluded from conversations. So the greater good was her constituency. However, as a woman in the workplace and in a male-dominated field, I do understand and I sympathize with the emotion that she displayed in that video. I'm going to take some tweets now. Ismail Omotayo says, Akpabio needs to understand that he was elected by his colleagues to lead the chamber. They were both elected by their people to represent them in the chamber. He has no right to deprive her of making her contribution. Ayo Mero Essay says, womanhood is very proud of you, Senator, at Natasha Akpoti. Thank you for standing up for your constituents who voted for you to have a voice in Senate. Mara says, person wey beat Yaya Bello hands down for Kogi State. I beg, fear Natasha. And finally, Mezier had this to say. He says, Akpabio has turned the Nigerian Senate to the Nigerian House of Commotion. Very interesting. On one hand, we have the hero, MKO Abiola, Veronica and Ibrahim. On the other hand, we have Nigerian politics still seemingly taking a chaotic turn. I don't believe that this is what he stood for, but what do you guys make of this?
Let me begin with the Natasha case with the President of the Senate. I believe that if you are speaking for your constituents, you can speak from any position in the House. It's about speaking, it's not about where you sat. Even though, yes, there are places where people are meant to sit, but I'm thinking that it shouldn't have raised so much dust except there is more to it than we know, like everyone is alluding. So that must have been the case. I want to believe that Natasha is not a person that would react to a matter of you changing my seat in that manner. So I believe that the case here is not about the change of seat, but something that we all don't know. I hope they can bring us in so we know how to address this matter better. Now, for the aspect of June 12 and the former military heads of state's confession, there's been so much that has gone on between now and 32 years earlier on. I wish he had made this confession earlier so that Nigerians can heal better, and those who lost families as a result of that incident and his decision. Because right now, I feel he's not necessarily taking blames, because he's saying he takes responsibility, regrets his action, but the matter of the decision to annul the election was that of late Sani Abacha. Late Sani Abacha is dead and he cannot defend himself, so to speak. So you are not necessarily taking the blame. You are still shifting blame to someone else.
It's a strategic apology.
That he has not really come out to apologize.
And I totally agree with you, because when I watched his response and also read some of the reactions, you know, I want to believe that late General Sani Abacha would probably have turned in his grave, because they had a professional and personal relationship before he died, and then when he became head of state, it looks like he sidelined General Ibrahim Babangida. He was his chief of staff at the time when he was the head of state. So whatever happened, whatever it is that had gone in between, let's wait for reactions to come afterwards. With Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, I feel that there is more to this than meets the eye, because it goes beyond changing the seat. There is an order. So whether it is procedural or personal, only God knows. But the National Assembly, known for chaos, but I think there have been semblance of, you know, reasonableness there. But I want them to continue in line of representing Nigeria's interest rather than personal interest when it comes to issues that they need to thrash.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. As you saw, Abdul Mumin Abiola did say that his father viewed these people as friends.